Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your Coach Renz, and today we're going to be talking about there's no money in Lyft, but where can you make money? How can you make money? Um, where is it? Where's your opportunity to get better? And let me make a few adjustments here before we get started. There we go. Boom, right there. Uh, Give people a little bit of time to get on. Gonna do a little sharing real quick. So for those who are watching this later, you maybe just want to like skip to about 2-3 minutes into the video, and then that's where you'll be able to really get started with everything. If you have any questions, go ahead and submit your questions, comments, things of that nature. We're gonna go in a little deep concerning finances and making money. Financial economics, economic upliftment, getting yourself in a better position to take care of your family, your situations, things of that nature. Just doing one little share on my page here. When you come on, let me know where you at. Where are you? Where are you coming from? All right, so I'm gonna take a few minutes to introduce myself. For those who've never been with me, those who don't know me, my name is Larenzo. Coach Renz is what I go by in many circles, and today we're going to take a little bit of time to discuss the fact of an experiment that I did, a methodology that I use in order to see about making a little bit more money, to see uh, how the gig economy actually works. I've tried many things just to see what the effects would be. Does it really work? And let me just go here real quick. If you're that kind of person that's listened to so many different gurus of how to make money, how to get rich quick, you just got to put in a little bit of effort. You don't have to really spend that much money. All these kind of programs, then this is a great video for you. If you've been like me, where you've read tons of books over the years, from Think and Grow Rich to Rich Dad Poor Dad, and every other book, Habits of Successful People, all these different books, like legit, my sister lost all my books when I had her maintain them for me for a while. But I had like a full treasure trove library of books on books on books, mostly about how to make yourself better and how to make your life better. And I gotta tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you, for all the books that I read, nothing has taught me better than the experiences of life. Experiences of life have taught me better than anything else. So we're gonna be sipping on some hibiscus tea while we're going through this. But definitely, here's the thing. As many of you know, I'm the owner of Uncle Renz Popcorn. It's gourmet popcorn treat shop. You can find it online at the letter U, the letter R, the word popcorn.com. Many of you know that. Many of you also know that I'm a realtor. If you're looking to purchase in Georgia or sell in Georgia, contact me. It's all about the agent, not the agency. Now, the other thing is that I really want you guys to understand is that last year I took a stab at driving Lyft. I told myself that, well, as I prepare to open up a new Uncle Renz Popcorn location, as I reorganize and regroup my company, I wanted to do something that I can still control my own time, but it allowed for me to be able to live my life while putting things in motion, in place, to be able to open up the next Uncle Renz Popcorn. So one of the options out there, because I had coached my sister in 2018 in driving Lyft, I decided, let me give it a go. Let me see how this works. Because here's the thing, in 2018, if you see it in my videos, my older videos about driving Lyft and how much money can be made, back in 2018, when I first started driving Lyft in the late 2018, it was feasible to make $20 to $25 an hour in the city of Atlanta. It was feasible. It was easy. The amount of money Lyft was taking out, and this is how much money you made per hour after Lyft took their money, took their fees. And this was driving on their rental car program. So, if you saw my other videos, I showed you the numbers of how your car note is $500, your insurance is $500. The rental car program comes out to be about the same. It's about the same, not much difference. The only difference is you're not putting damage on your own car. So I drove Lyft for the latter half of 2018 and for the first 9 months of 2019. And there's a distinct difference in the time frames. Up until December of 2018, I was able to make about $20 to $25 an hour driving Lyft. If you see my videos back then, Lyft, you made a little bit of money. It was profitable to do it. It made sense to do it. You know, I'm not looking to break the bank. You're still working as an independent contractor for another company, but it was feasible. It was possible. It had its benefits. But then, December 2018, Lyft made some changes to how they pay you and how much they pay you. At first, the change wasn't that great of a difference. And I made a video about it and showed how it went down from $20 to $25 an hour down to about $18 to $23 an hour. Still decent. And people challenged me on whether or not I made that kind of money driving Lyft, but in Atlanta, that was fine, and I did. So then along comes about January. How you doing, Latoya? Lyft wasn't for me. I made more money with Uber. And I don't know if you're going to experience the same thing with Uber as I did with Lyft. But along January, February of 2019, again, Lyft changes its policies on how much they pay the driver. And I started noticing that if I took somebody on a ride and Lyft charged a person $40, whereas previously I would have received about 30 of those dollars, now I was receiving more around 20. And I thought, 50-50. Still not too bad, but not great. But then around April, Lyft changes its programs again. And in April, all of a sudden, you take somebody on a $40 trip, you look at what you get, all of a sudden now you're getting $15 and $17 from that $40 trip that Lyft charged the customer. If you get multiple people in your ride, and this is where they really made money off of you, you pick up one person, they pick up another person and another person. Whereas the whole total may be that Lyft charged everybody a total of $60 because they're only paying you now for the miles you drove, regardless of how much the person was, and they charging you an extra processing fee for each person. That $60, you still wind up getting like $15. So I saw these numbers coming in for Lyft, and I thought it was crazy. Latoya said, right, $15. And when I saw them, y'all, I made some hibiscus tea. This is on point with a little honey in it. Whew. So then, as I was driving, as we got into the summer, now mind you, I stopped driving for Lyft in September, so 9 months into 2019. We get into the summer, and I realized that Lyft, I was losing more money driving Lyft. Something wasn't right. The numbers just wasn't coming out the same. And my mind was harking back to when I was making a little money. So I was like, okay, Lyft is not really for me anymore. I got bigger fish I can fry. I can use my talents in other ways in order to make more money. So I decided, so me and Lyft parted ways. We parted ways. I hadn't really thought about it that much until tax time came. And y'all, I got to tell you, the numbers came out and I was sorely disappointed. So if you're driving Lyft or Uber right now, you really got to look at these numbers. You know, if you're one of those people who watches those shows like The Profit or the Shark Tanks and those types of shows, then you know that knowing your numbers are key. Knowing your numbers are vital to your success. So I looked into my numbers and when I did my taxes. And when I looked at the paperwork that Lyft sent me concerning my taxes, I saw that Lyft, yes, it looked good. It looked decent. I ain't gonna say good. It looked decent. For 9 months of driving, Lyft paid me right around $40,000 for 9 months of driving. That would sound good to some people. They would say, wow, $40,000 in 9 months. You still got, 3 months left, one more quarter left in the year. You know what? You're gonna make another $10,000 or more going into the holidays. You're gonna make, come out around $50,000 for the total year. But here's the problem. When I looked at all the fees, the 4 different lines of fees that Lyft took out, service fee, car fee, platform fee, some other service fee that I didn't know what it was. When I look at all of that and I took all of that out, that near $40,000, because it was 39,000 and some change, that near $40,000 turned out to be 16,000. After Lyft took all their money out, it was only 16,000. In 9 months, I had only made $16,000. That's it. Just 16,000. That meant that if you look at those numbers of only making $16,000 for 9 months, that means that when you divide that by 3, since there was only 3 months left in the year, and you divide that 16 by 3, that means that I'm only going to make at this point about $4,600 more for the rest of the year. So around that, I'll say $5,000 more based on those numbers, which means that I'm going to end the year right around $21,000. But here's the thing, people. That does not include gas. The amount of money I'm spending on gas. The amount of money I'm spending eating food. Now, LaToya says that, and she used her own personal vehicle. She's putting a lot of miles on her own personal vehicle. Depending on that, if you own your car outright, no car note, low insurance of right around $200, it's not, you're not going to spend as much. But if you're paying a decent normal car note, $400 or $500 a month, you're paying insurance $400 or $500 a month on your insurance, you're losing. You're going to lose. You're not making nowhere near as much money as it appears. It's nice that you get paid every week. It's nice that you can control your schedule to a certain degree. But you're going to lose. You're going to lose every time. It is not going to provide that opportunity for you to grow. Now, if you're driving Lyft as a secondary job, you're driving it just on the weekend, you're driving it overnight, then sure, that little extra money may be the tool, the ticket that you need in order for you to pay off your creditors, get your, save up to buy a home, any of those things. But if Lyft is if you're looking at Lyft as your primary source of income, then you are in a position where you're only going to make about $21,000, $22,000 a year once you take out all the fees and gas and keeping your car clean and maintenance on your car and anything else, tires, everything else that goes with it. So Lyft went from something where people could make money and put about $30,000, $40,000 in their pocket to something where now you're only going to put about $15,000 to $20,000 in your pocket. And for me, that's not worth it. That is not worth it. For me, you are losing. For me, what I'm telling you is that you have talents within yourself to be able to make more money based on you doing you than working for Lyft, than driving for Lyft or Uber, either one. There's a reason why they made these changes. Per my understanding, per my research, Uber nor Lyft haven't made any significant money yet. Many people say that's crazy. Why haven't they? You have to understand how they finance the company, how they finance the building of it. Uber and Lyft both had about 6 to 8 rounds of financing, meaning they came to their first investors. They got millions of dollars. Then they came to another round, a second round of asking additional investors, hey, we've done well in San Francisco. Will you invest? This is how much stock shares you'll receive in it. Second round, millions of dollars. Third round, millions of dollars. Fourth, fifth, sixth round, millions of dollars. Well, along about 2017, 18, it was time for them to start paying back those first round and second round investors. They didn't have the money. They had to pay those people back. And as time goes on, they have to pay back each round of those investors. Since they have to keep paying those investors, then they have to look for how can we make money. They don't own cars. They don't own anything. The only way they can make money to pay those investors is to take it from the driver. Take it from your ability to put the money in your pocket. I'm not mad at them for doing it. That's business. You shouldn't get mad at them for doing it. It's just business. What you should get mad at is yourself. Get mad at yourself. Because if you got stuck in a position where you can't leave it, you can't do anything outside of it. You see, I know a lot of people who maximize it where to the fact where you can only drive so many hours for Lyft before the app shuts you down. Then they flip over to Uber and then drive as many hours in Uber until it shuts you down, or vice versa. They'll do one or the other. Now you don't control your time. Your money is controlling you. You have to go drive 16, 17 hours a day. I was almost one of those people for what I was looking to achieve. And the only way for me to still maintain what I was making, see, I used to be able to go out and drive for 10 hours. And that's 10 hours. That's including lunch and everything. But I'll be gone for 10 hours, out for 10 hours. And then it became where if I wanted to make the same amount of money, I had to be out driving. At first it went up to 12 hours, then 14. Then it was 18 hours. I had to be out driving for 18 hours in order to make the same amount of money that I was making before Lyft reduced the rates and changed the rates. So I had to stop. And I didn't realize how big of an impact it was until I was doing my taxes. You see, I haven't driven for Lyft since September, almost a year. You know, I'm getting ready to, I'm in the final stages of opening up Uncle Renz Popcorn in a brand new location. You know, I'm a real estate agent. Well, I'm an agent of real estate, but actually I'm an agent of real estate. And so, you know, I put myself in position to actually make more money based on my time. And that's where we need to come to an understanding. Lyft has its purpose, but for most of you, it's a dead end. It's a dead end. If you're on here and you have a talent, first of all, I want to know what your talent is. What do you do that's a hobby, that's something that you think you can make it big in? Because here's what I've been seeing over the last couple of days on my Facebook. There's a young man that I went to high school with. Memorial Day weekend's coming up. He took a bunch of pictures of all this food that he made. I imagine he must have owned a restaurant before, because he was asking the people on his Facebook, should I open up a restaurant again? And people were like, yes, 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 yes. And he's a pastor, so they were like, yes, yes, do it, do it. You know, God be with you, do it. You know, I'll support. The only thing I put on there was, depends on the business plan. It depends on the business plan. Restaurants are one of the most difficult businesses to be in. If you are successful, it could be a great long-standing business. But unfortunately, about 70% of all restaurants will fail. They will fail. But the problem is that most of them fail because they inadequately, and I'm messing that word up, inadequately was not set up adequately. Can't get the word out. They weren't set up adequately. They weren't funded properly. They're not ran properly. The understanding of how to build a restaurant is not there. They're not updated. They're not done in a way marketed correctly. They're not put in the right locations most of the time. You guys have heard me say many a time, if there are 20 same style restaurants that you want to open up in your neighborhood, go where there is no one. You know, those kind of thinking don't happen in a restaurant. So I simply put, it depends on the business plan. It depends on the business plan. And unfortunately, most of us get into a business without a plan. I saw another post, a young man, he said that he's tired of the rat race, tired of his job, and he wants to do something else to make money. He needs to do something else. And of course, everybody, I will send him a message today, but of course, everybody, I ain't gonna say everybody, but a lot of people, oh, I'm gonna inbox you. I'm making money from my laptop. I'm making money from just by sitting at home. I went to a program, learn how to fix my credit. Now I'm making money helping other people fix their credit. Every person who's connected to him that is involved in some type of network marketing company reaches out to him. Y'all know it happens to you too. It happens to you. And I know you're saying, what's the problem with that, Coach Renz? I know someone who is making money. I know someone who left their job and they don't work the 9 to 5 anymore. And they run around and they say, you know, my business. I'm not against anybody doing anything, but what I am against is falsifying information. I'm against you having inaccurate thought. Okay, if you're working for a network marketing company, you do not own a business. It's just plain cut, clear, and dry. You do not own a business. Do you own the LLC to the coffee company network marketing that you're with? Do you own the LLC to the fitness product that you're with? Do you own any LLC to any of the network marketing? You don't. Even the ones who do actually make money, which is only 2% of the people involved, they don't own the LLC. A good friend of mine, well, he ain't a good friend of mine, but a friend of mine, he made millions in a network marketing company. But unfortunately, when the company shut down, so did his money. That company's not in existence anymore. So he's not making that money anymore. So I have to, if you don't own the company, you don't own a business. You're an affiliate. You're an independent contractor. And it's not that I'm putting it down or you down. What I'm saying is you must have accurate thinking of it. It is not under your control. You don't set the price. You don't set the service. You don't set the territory that you work in. None of those things are under your control. They're not. Even as an agent of real estate, I don't own the brokerage. I can't operate outside of Georgia unless I go get licensed in another state. There are many things that, even though I am independent, I can function as if it's my own business. In truth, until I own a brokerage, is not my own business. Is not. So you have to really get the accurate thought in your mind before you set out to say what you're going to do. And this young man who is looking for something to change, when you're in that desperate mindset or in that frustrated mindset, you are willing to fall for anything without properly going through a process of getting accurate thinking. So what I want to spend the next few minutes doing, if you guys will stay with me, is going over a little bit of how I got started with my business, Uncle Renz Popcorn. But this is not just Uncle Renz Popcorn. This same process is how I started UC Fitness. UC Fitness was a fitness company that I owned, operated for 10 years, and then sold. All right? So we are going to go through my business plan. And just so that you know, it is right here. This is my business. This is the spreadsheet of my business plan. The financials, that would bore you to tears if you was just listening to it just for the sake of listening. But beforehand, I want to know what you guys think as far as what's a business that you're thinking about, what's a hobby that you have, because and drop shipping, no, it's not your business, you don't own it. Amazon fulfillments, that's not your business, you don't own it. So what's something that you have an ability to do? And you'd be surprised. The couple, I was astounded the other day. The couple that I buy my watermelons from, I was thoroughly impressed with the amount of money that they make selling watermelons on the side of the highway. Well, not the highway, but on the side of a very busy road. Selling watermelons. I was astounded in how much they make. When you're averaging 4 figures a day selling watermelon on the side of the road, that's a good business. When you own the land to which produces the watermelon, and then you're also selling them on the road, that's a good business. That's business. And I'm making 4 figures a day. 4 figures a day. I want you to contemplate that. 4 figures a day. If you look at the season, the length of the season to be able to do that, it's astounding. You're gonna make more. You can make more. So when you see those people on the side of the road, one of the first things I want you to do is stop looking down on people. Stop looking down on people who you think are doing something that's beneath you. Right? You see the person with the fruit stand on the side of the road. You may think, oh, I'll never do that. That's beneath me. That I can't do that. It's too high. They ain't making no money. Lies you tell. The lies you tell. After talking to the couple and going over a few things about their numbers and how to set things up in the future, this couple is already making way more money than most people, period. And if you looked at them, you wouldn't think they were. But that's the thing. Most of the times, the people who are making the most, you can't tell. So get out of your mind that whatever your hobbies are, whatever it is that you may like to do, that you can't make money in it, you can if you set it up correctly. If you get your mindset right and set it up correctly and then put forth the work, the effort, then you can. These gig economy things is not for you. It's not. It's just really not. The gig economy stuff is for the people who own the company. And you got to become owners of companies. So what I'll be looking at is my business plan, Coach Renz Popcorn. All right. It goes into a lot of stuff. We got our executive summary. People who work with me on my business program, these are things that we deal with. This is how we process everything. This is how we go through the mental exercise to make sure that we're on the right pathway. Some people ask me, I've made some mistakes. I've made some mistake. I put my popcorn shops in not so great locations. I've been in situations where I had to shut that spot down because it wasn't producing as much as I needed it to, and it was just breaking even, and that's not good enough. That's not good enough. So one of the first things that you will want to have is an executive summary. We're going to go through these really quickly. An executive summary is just basically breaking down who owns the company and who's going to be running the company. And you may be fulfilling the majority of the places. You may be I jumped ahead of myself. Executive summary. Executive summary is first just telling you about your business and your industry. Sorry. You're just talking about your business and your industry. Where it come from, what is the industry opportunity, who's in the industry. You're just giving an overview of the whole thing at this point, and that's it in your executive summary. Then we have our mission statement. What's the plan? If you don't know where you're going in your company, then you're setting yourself up for failure. So you want to have a mission statement that just keeps you on point, and it got to be something that you're. Here's one thing about a mission statement. That mission statement needs to be more than something that sounds like it's a canned speech. It needs to be something that if you have an employee, they can believe in, they can get behind, they feel inspired by it, right? Not things like, we will ensure that our clients is our primary focus in providing them great products and customer service that is beyond reproach. Yes, that's something that I had wrote as part of it. But that doesn't get people inspired. That doesn't get inspired. That's not inspiring. But something that's more inspiring to my employees, because that's who I want to understand is that Uncle Renz Popcorn is designed to become a part of the community, a place where families can gather together, enjoy a great product, and grow in their unity. That's the mission. The mission is about the people. It's not about you. My mission is to make as much money as possible. Employees can't get behind that. Your customers can't get behind that. What it is. Now, your company ownership, you want to have that locked down. When you go to fill out your LLC paperwork, you need to know who are the shareholders, who's the president, who's the CEO, who's the vice president. When you set up your company ownership, if there's a partnership, how much shares is owned by whom? And then what happens if anything happens to any of those people? Where does it go? You need to understand that. Who are these people? What are their skill set and their talents? And that's where we get into the staff. You just don't put, you're the president. Okay, you're the president, but what makes you the president? What skill set, talent do you have, and what is your job description? Your store managers or your district managers, what are their job description? What is their area of coverage? So you want to cover who your staff is, because when you're planning a business, you have to, based on your numbers that you modestly think you're going to receive, you got to kind of know how many people am I going to need. One problem I had with one location is that I was a sap for the sad story, and I hired every little young adult who was losing their house, needed to work, couldn't find a job, running from family members, the whole deal. They walked in the door, and I pretty much hired them. I had a staff of 11 people to run a popcorn shop that really only needed to be staffed by 4 people. And then of course, when you staff that many people, you're trying to give everybody hours and hours and hours and hours, and it becomes a big drain on your company. Knowing your numbers is also knowing how to watch out for overspending. You see, getting this kind of mindset helps you to understand how to drive you and set up your business. Selecting areas. You won't see this in a lot of business plans, right? This is something that I added. Oftentimes people will just put the location. And they'll put up these dream locations, you know. But after going through a few locations and understanding how my business works, and that's one thing you got to understand. How does your business work? Now, none of y'all have given me an idea of what kind of business you would want to start, because I'd rather use your ideas and let this be a think tank session for you as well. But when you think about where you're going to locate your business, you have to first think, who are my customers? When you identify who your customer is, then you can begin to say, how do I put myself in a position for my customers to be able to utilize me? Are your customers online? Are they drive-by customers? Do they come to you before work? Do they come to you after work? Do they come to you during lunchtime? Are you primarily a weekend? Inquiring mind says storage units. All right, that's a good one. I like storage units. You know why I like storage units? Storage units are like parking lots. It takes minimum amount of people to run it. It's pretty much it runs itself. All right, so a storage unit. You want your storage unit, you have to think about who uses storage unit. You got people in houses and you got people in apartments, right? Now, you're going to have just as many people, you're going to have more people in apartments utilizing the storage than people in houses. Usually people in houses will use their garage, they'll have an attic, they'll have a basement, they have extra space to store their stuff. So when you're selecting a location, you have to determine, if I'm going to be set up in an area where there's more houses, then I need a higher density of population and I need a wider berth of competition before I get into this space. Then you got to think, if most people who utilize a storage facility are coming on the weekend, so based on that, which pattern of traffic is going to allow them the easiest way to get to me? We have to do that, and that's based on the traffic pattern, weekends. Now, if it's during the week that you think that you're going to get most of your people, then you have to put it where it's easy for them to come. Are they coming in before work or after work? Most will come after work. So it needs to be in a position where they will leave their home and get to you after work. And that population density is going to make a big difference. Now, can you be seen? Can you be seen? And most people nowadays are just going to Google storage facilities near me. So they'll just track themselves to you. But when you're thinking about your location, you have to think about it in those terms. Now, storage facility doesn't have to have great storefront position. You can be behind a car dealership. You can be in a slightly warehouse different on an off road from a main road, because people will come to find you as a storage facility. A storage facility becomes a need for people. So I love the idea of a storage facility. And as far as selecting that location, you just have to be where there is a lack, and you want to be where people can easily get to you, not too difficult, and they have easy access to you. And the rest of it comes down to what type of facility is it? Is it temperature? How much temperature control and how much is non-temperature control? How the gate access works and that sort of thing. But that's a great business. Now, if you were doing a restaurant, are you going in the morning or are you going in the evening? If you're doing a clothing, are you in the shopping district? Do people get out their car and are you in a walking area, or people just drive by? If they are driving by, are you at an intersection where there's a light that pauses people? Is it easy to get in, easy to get out? Do they come to you on the way home? And are you on the go home side of the road? So we want to think about all these kinds of things. We have to get into those metrics when we're looking at a business to get started. And the next one, which leads into our competition, right? Who is your competition? Who is your competition? If you're doing a storage facility and we're going to keep using storage facility as well as popcorn until somebody else tells me exactly what kind of business they're involved in, then we'll use another one. But what is the birth of space for your competition? Depending upon your business, it might be 1 mile, it might be 10 miles, it might be 100 miles. It all depends on who you're looking to draw in. One of the things, I was telling my wife about, I missed an opportunity to buy a parking lot about 10, 15 years ago. No, actually that was 20, about 10, 15 years ago. In that area that I was looking at, how many other parking lots are there? When you're looking at storage, what's the name that I'm looking for? Intriguing minds, storage. How many storage unit places are within storage units? You're going to look at your competition being about 10 miles. People will drive 6, 7, 8 miles to a storage facility. If you were doing a restaurant, not so many miles people are going to drive. But up 10 miles, people would do that for a storage facility. How many are in your community? How many houses? How many apartments? What is the move in and move out rate of the people in that area? You wanted to also look at that. Look at, if you're looking at a storage area, if I was coaching you on this one, then one of the things I would have you go look at is say, okay, if you're looking in this area, how many, you can go to some of these websites and see how many people are moving in and how many people are moving out. All right. Is there enough people moving in? Is there enough people moving out? You want to know that. There's a neighborhood that I drove through today as a realtor, and nobody in this neighborhood is selling their home. There's over 50 homes in this neighborhood, and it's one of the few neighborhoods that I drove through and did not see one sign of house for sale, right? Which, as a realtor, it makes me say, okay, let me reach out to these people to see if they, let me inspire some of them to move. But that's a stable neighborhood. People aren't moving in or out of this neighborhood, so they're not helpful. But then 2 neighborhoods over, there's like 200 homes in each one of these neighborhoods, and 90% of the people in those homes are renters. And since 90% of those are renters, they will more than likely use more storage than the others. And people are moving in and out constantly. So you want to look at the entire area that people will drive to you. What's your competition? What type of competition? What's their type? How many? Are they updated or are they old? Do they have great temperature control? Do they not? Is it gate access? 24 hours access? You want to evaluate your competition. I can't tell you how many people came inside of Uncle Renz popcorn, and I could tell what they were doing. Some of them were just like blatant, and I could tell that they were looking. They was like, "Oh, he got 25 flavors. All right, he got this flavor. He has that flavor." And they taking their notes and they looking around. Okay, these are the colors that he's using. They were taking notes about what I did as a business. And then I was the type that I would confront them in a way and say, "Look, if you want to know, you evaluate me. That's fine. Just ask your questions. I will answer some and some I won't." And I knew they were opening down the street, but they wanted to know what the competition was. You got to know your competition. Just because you think you cook great doesn't mean everybody's going to think that you cook great. And is it significant enough to make somebody change their habits and go somewhere else? Maybe, maybe not. So you got to evaluate this thing to see, are you good enough? How are you going to attract them? What's going to separate you from your competition? Or are you just a copycat? Are you just a copycat? Doesn't matter, because whatever you do, somebody's going to copy you. So we want to know the competition. The other thing that you want to look at next is the opportunities. And guys, like I said, I'm going straight off my business plan. I'm telling you guys how my business plan is structured. Right? This business plan has helped me so much over the years. So the opportunity, what are the opportunities? When I first started a gourmet popcorn company in Atlanta, there were less than 10 popcorn shops in the city. And back then, I thought that the opportunity was about 10, 15 shops in the city of Atlanta. Now that I've been in the industry for over 8 years, I recognize that the opportunity is totally different. But you want to, and my business plan is constantly updated. Now when I say that the opportunity is 10, where I used to say that the opportunity in Atlanta was 10 shops, legit in the city of Atlanta and metro Atlanta, the opportunity is more around 65 opportunities, 65 locations is more along the lines of the opportunity. You got to know what opportunity you have. Do you have a lot of competition or do you not? Is it a need or is it not? Is it a want or is it not? Is it something that you can trend and it becomes something that people want? You got to understand the gravity of the opportunity in your area to build your business. If it's online, one of those things that I see online now, and it's driving me crazy, is everybody and their mama is selling hair online. Every young lady and every dude, not every dude, but every young lady is selling hair, right? And here's the problem: you got too many people doing it. And all of y'all could be getting it from some factory in off Alibaba. You know, one of the beautiful things about the beauty industry right now is that you don't have to go to China to make contact with people in China. You don't have to go to India. You can set yourself up with manufacturers without having to go there. The problem is everybody wants to take the easy, cheap route out. Oh, I'm just gonna put me a place online where I'm selling hair, and I'm just gonna put it on Facebook, and put it on Instagram, take pictures with me with the hair. And I'm gonna do like videos of doing the sew-ins and all that kind of stuff. And some of that's good stuff that you do, but that's all you thinking because you're risk averse. And if you're risk averse, you shouldn't be in business. You shouldn't. This is why so many people run to places like Lyft and Uber, because it's less risk. Less risk. But the less risk, less money. That money in Lyft is not worth it. It is not worth it. But the money in yourself is worth it. But when you do it, you gotta be able to access the opportunity that's out there. If your whole network of customers is just your family and friends, you are going to lose unless you got 50,000 family and friends. Unless you got 50,000. Let me tell you something about opportunity. All right, I didn't know if I was going to talk about this in this video, but you need to understand this. This is something that you need to understand. This is called the law of diffusion of innovation. All right. The thing about it is that as far as customers are concerned, you will easily attract 2.5% of the people. These are your innovators. These are the people that like to do things first. They like to see things first. They're the first ones there. They stand in line for new products. iPhone comes out, they're standing in line. Knowing full and well they can get the same phone, 6 months later. But they got to be first. 2.5. You can easily find those people. Those people, they'll be with you for a while, but as it become more popular, they're going to leave you. Then you got this 13.5. That's your early adapters. Your early adapters, these are your people who are going to stick with you a little bit longer. They were there. These are my customers who no matter where I open up a Uncle Renz popcorn, they show up. And they're usually the first ones to show up. They are very loyal. I love them. But that 13.5, so within here is about 10%, right? You can easily get about 10%. If you got 1,000 people on your Facebook, you can get about 100 of them to buy product from you. If you got 1,000 people on your Instagram, 1,000 people, you can get about 100 of them to be your customers on a decent level. But that 100 people, unless you have a product that is worth like $100 and you're making about 70 off of that 100, you're not building a business on that. You might just be creating a job or some extra money on the side. That's about it. That's about it. This is the same way of, I'm gonna go and I bought 2 investment properties and I got 2 renters and that's all you got, right? You can't retire off that. You can't retire. You that's not gonna make you money. There's a tipping point right around 15 to 18%. When you start getting 15 to 18% of the people involved, then you start to move into what's called the early majority. When you get into that early majority, at 34%, that's when you've built the business. Now, I'm going to use this in another video talking about how you make societal changes. Societal changes follow this as well. If you want to start a trend, you can 2.5% of the people will do it. You can get 10% people to stay with you, but you got to get past that tipping point to get this early majority going with you. Now, the early majority, then after a while, the late majority comes in when it becomes really, really popular and safe. And then you have these laggards, 16%. Don't even worry about them. That's something you got to understand. And you got to understand how that functions in your business ideas and your plans. You see, Lyft and Uber, when it first started, they started in San Francisco, right? And, they were working on that 2.5% and that 10%. And they were willing to give drivers all kind of money in the beginning because they needed to spread it out. They needed to get into that early majority, right? Once they got into the early majority, then the late majority came. The late majority are the ones who feel like it's so safe that they will call a Lyft or Uber and put their 6-year-old child in that car by themselves so that you can take them to school. I say this because that happened to me. And I was like, oh, are you crazy? you putting this 6-year-old, this first grader in the car with me. I was not comfortable at all, right? But now that Uber and Lyft got the late majority and the early majority, they ain't got to pay you no more. Because they know that the moment you stop driving for them, there's another person who's 20, 28, 30 years old, 40, a retiree that's 60, 70 years old, who's thinking that they can go make some money driving Uber and Lyft. And they'll jump in. So they don't need you. They went over the tipping point as far as acquiring drivers. That's why they can take 60 and 70% of the fare that you just drove, right? So we got to understand what our opportunities are. And then your positioning. How are you going to position yourself in your company? How are you going to position yourself? How are you going to position your company to function? How are you going to position your company to be something that stands out? Like, what makes you different? You know, as an agent of real estate, I tell people, you can find, everybody knows a realtor. Everybody got a friend, a family, whomever. All right. First of all, are they full time? Are they fully engaged? That's the first thing. Second thing, are they working with a brokerage where they have a team environment and there is, you know, that brokerage been there and people have worked for this one for 40 plus years? Do they have that wealth of experience? When you come and you list your home with me, you're not just listing it with me. My brokerage have hundreds of buyers already in the pipeline. You're putting yourself in a better position to get that house sold. So you have to think about your positioning. So when I was looking for a brokerage house to go to as a realtor, I thought I wanted to position myself to be where I can take advantage of the best situation possible for not only not for myself, but for my listings and for my buyers. So I had to position myself in the right place, that in the right brokerage house that was already positioned. If you're opening up whatever your business is, how are you going to position it so that it stands out? Your positioning is going to be a big difference and one of your major drivers when it comes to your marketing. All right. And in positioning, and so after positioning, you want to get deeper into your business concept. All right, so we got our position. Now let's get deeper into the business concept. Let's understand where all the opportunities are in your company. You know, if you watch some of these shows where they are like Restaurant Impossible or some of those shows like that, they will often talk about how much money are you making per square foot. Right? So you have a 1,200 square foot space and you're making, I don't know, $1,200 a month, which would be horrible. Then that comes out to like $100. Well, no, that's not even $100 a square foot. It's like $1 a square foot or something like that. I have to do the math. Calculators are great. But you have to understand how much money are you making per square foot. So then what square footage are you wasting? Or do you need this much square footage? A lot of restaurants and places during this quarantine are going to realize that we don't necessarily need seating. We can make more money per square foot because we can do more delivery, we can do more takeout, right? So lots of companies are going to change their business concept, but you want to get deeper into what it is. Are you a destination location? You know, do you have a business that's going to change the way people function and live? So we have to get deeper into your business concept. And then you want to describe your shop. This is also telling you how you're going to run. Like, what are you selling and where are you getting it? Well, not so much where you get it from, but what are your prices? What are you selling? What are all the options that your customers are going to have? How is it ran? How is the front of the house ran? The back of the house is ran, even if it's retail. How is the front retail ran? But how is your storage in the back ran? How are your supply chains ran? How are your payroll ran? How are you running your taxes? All these kind of things. In your business plan, you got to get all that information knocked down. And then in your business plan, you'll have a marketing slide, but then there's a whole nother marketing plan. You'll use a summary on your marketing slide within your business plan, but you'll have an entire marketing plan that goes into greater detail. You can't just say, oh, we're going to become YouTube famous, we're going to become TikTok famous. How? Are you running ads? Who has the best ads? Are you running them? How much are you going to spend for your ads? Or how are you going to get people to share it? How are you going to create that viral video? What are you going to do to continue to grow it? What kind of signage are you going to have? What kind of signage in the window? What kind of window dressing is going on? Are you going to show up at different community events? And like, what are all the ways that you're going to get the word out and draw people in? What's your marketing message? You want to know all those things. What's your marketing message? I have an entire marketing program called Crystal Clear Marketing. And in that one, we break down like every aspect of how you're going to market your business. And many of you is inquiring minds. Are you still there? I have a question for you. Because if you are, I want you to, if you don't mind, what's your marketing for a storage facility? What is it? Anybody, actually. Anybody got a business that they run or that they're looking to run, or you have an idea for one? What is your marketing plan? Give me a marketing statement. What's your elevator pitch? What's your 2 lines that will attract people? And you might be right on point, but you might not. I'm not looking for somebody to say something just so I can say, no, let me tell you, this is what you... If you say something that is remarkable, bet it's remarkable. Won't throw it away. But I want you to think about that. So in that, you're going to think about all your revenue streams. Now, this is the part where people mess up. This first slide here. Show them. This is your first financial slide. Talking about what it takes to open up your shop. This is bottom. This is just to open. Just to get the door open. This is not working capital. This is not a whole bunch of other stuff. This is just to get that first door open. And many people will undershoot this. They will think, oh, it's only going to cost me, for my signage, it's only going to cost me about $2,000. Then they wind up realizing it cost them $4,000, right? Because there's a lot of fees that you didn't go to. Did you go to the county and find out what the fees are for opening, for putting a sign up? Did you ask the county how much are the fees for your health inspection, the fees for your agriculture inspection, the fees for your building inspection? Do you need to have a general contractor? If you got in the city of Atlanta, you have to have a general contractor if you're not taking the space as is, and because only a general contractor can pull permits. So, how you doing, Gaia? Do you know that? Have you established? Do you know what those fees are? And many people think, oh, they run into a space. I love this space. I want this space. I got $40,000, and then it turns out that it takes them about $70,000 to actually open up that location. Understanding your numbers is vital. This is why I can tell you that Lyft and Uber does not make you any money. It does not. I don't care if you can show me that, oh, see, this week I made $1,200. Right? That's how much you did. No. When you take out all their platform fees and this fee and that fee and all these other fees, and then you take out your gas and your insurance and your food, and you take out all these other things that you spent money on, at the end of the day, you made less than 50% of what they what they put out there. And you have to know those numbers in order for you to walk away from this situation. For you to realize that this is not good for me. This is not a good position to be in. So let me put myself in a better position by building something that I can control, that I own, that I can set the price point for. If you are doing your finances, your financial picture for it, like one of the second slides is what is your monthly overhead, right? In order to understand that monthly overhead, that helps you to set the price for your product, right? Right? So there was a young lady that I was coaching about 7, 8 months ago. She bakes pies. She wanted to sell her pies online. And she told, when she first time we talked, she said, well, I want to sell my pies online, and I'm going to sell my pies for about $20 for $25 per pie. And I just asked her flat out, how much money are you making on that $20 pie, $20 for $25 pie? And she was like, I don't know, I make something. I was like, well, of course you're making something, but how much did it cost you to make the pie? Right? Inquiring mind said, I am here. I have no idea, just trying to absorb information so I can start working on something. Cool. What the point that I was getting at for that marketing, and I'll do that after I talk about these pies. She said that she didn't know how much it cost for her to make a pie. So in our first session, we sat down and figured out how much does it cost for her to make a pie. And at the end of the day, right, it cost her right around it was $11 and some change actually to make a pie. So we rounded it to $12. Right? So $12. So of course in her mind she's like, okay, if I sell the pie for $20, then I'm making $8. No, that's not good margin. That's not a good margin. That's not. Right? So I told her, I said, if you want to grow this as a business and be able to walk away, then you need to be able to sell this pie that costs you $12. You need to be able to sell this pie for at least $30, but shoot for $60. And the first statement out of her mouth, nobody's gonna buy a pie for $60. So I went on Google, didn't even say nothing to it. $60 apple pie, and 5-6 different companies popped up. Apple pie, $60. Now the presentation of the pie, the size, it was a regular size pie, but the presentation, the way the website looked, the verbiage and all that, you would think that they grew some apples out of some super soil, the way they described that thing. They validated the $60 through their verbiage and through the presentation, but they also validated because they decided that's what it's going to be. And if you want that pie, you're going to pay for it. People will pay for things that they would normally not say they're going to pay for. I've had so many people, and this is not against anybody, who say, oh, Coach Renz, I want you to coach me in my business, Then they find out how much it costs, what the investment is, and then all of a sudden they backpedaling, and they say, I can't afford that. But then you go and buy a car, you go take this vacation, you go do all these different things that you spend, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 on. But then when I'm here to teach you how to build your company so that you can make build a business system so that you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars, you can't invest in that. People got the money. So if you think you got a $60 pie, don't worry about the people who don't want to pay for it. I've had tons of people who walk into Uncle Renz Popcorn and they see that, what? I know that's a big old bag that's 24 inches long, 2-foot bag of popcorn, strawberry cheesecake, $21, that's too much. No, it's not. It's too much for you, but it's not too much. It's a gourmet product, handcrafted, strawberry cheesecake. Well, I can find that in Walmart. You can go try, but you won't. And even if it says strawberry cheesecake popcorn, it's something made in a factory in some country 6 months ago. This is not handcrafted. But you're more than welcome to go and buy it there. You don't have to buy it here. I've told people variations of that plenty of times. Sometimes I'm nicer about it, but if they get on my nerves, then they're gonna get told. But what I want you to understand is when you set your price, that's your price, right? When you set your price, that's your price. Don't let anybody tell you that that's not a good enough price. Now, you can't sell a $60 pie in a low-income neighborhood. You can't unless you're just shipping pies. You're not selling it in a low-income neighborhood. You're gonna have to be where people will spend $60 on a pie. All right. Inquiring mind said, "I'm here. Oh yeah, I'm here to start trying to absorb information so I can start working on something." Bruce Sanders said, "I'm currently in the process of starting a notary signing agency." And Guy said, "Correct." See, here's the thing. I had asked you that marketing question earlier because most people don't market correctly, right? They want to tell you what they do instead of why they do it. If you was with me when I talked about your mission statement is not what you are or what you're trying to accomplish, but why. Why? Your why is important. People will buy your why. You got to start from why. It doesn't really matter your how and your what. Your why is the only thing that matters. So when you're when you're looking at positioning yourself for a storage facility, you have to ask yourself, why would people come to me? What is the why that I'm going to implicate to them in my marketing message for them? You know, if you say, or you know, something like people who want to maintain their cherished belongings, their memories, their family heirlooms, come their family heirlooms need a place that is temperature controlled, that has 24 hours of security and top-notch surveillance, so that the memories of your family are never lost. Come to inquiring mind storage, you know, but you got to touch them at the emotional point of why in your marketing in order to catch them that way. Bruce Sanders, notary signing agency. Not, hey, are you looking for fast, cheap notary so that you, no. Do you want to guarantee that your documents will stand up in court? You want to make sure that if anybody ever challenged your documentation, that yours have been done in an expert way according to the laws of whatever your state is. Then Sanders Notary Agency is a place where we dot every I and cross every T to ensure that your documents will stand up in the Supreme Court of the United States. You gotta say nothing about price, none of that. People want the security of knowing that that documentation is correct. You know, it's all about how you put that in the message. When you make people feel like there's a higher value of it, then they may can spend $24 over here at Hood Rat Notary, but I'm going to Sanders and Associates, you know, notary, because they presented me with that emotional point of saying, I'm worried about my security, even though I didn't say it, because there are marketing things that you can say and there are marketing things you can't say, you know. But you don't want to be the cheapest person on the block, because then you're saying that your value is cheap. But we got to know what your numbers are, so you can determine, like, if you're going to be signing, okay, a storage place and a notary place. Storage, you got to look at it from an 80% fill rate. So you look at how much the land costs, how much the building costs, how much the electricity costs, how much the water costs. How many units do you have? If 80% of those units are filled at any given time, this is how much money you're making. Are you making enough profit margin off that in order for this to be a business, sustain your lifestyle, and grow? If grow into whatever your vision of the company is. If it does, great. If it doesn't, then you got to raise your prices. If you have to raise your prices, you have to create a message to the people that makes them say, I'm willing to pay a higher price point for it. Same way with notary. What is it that's going to make the people pay a higher amount, or pay the amount that you need for them to pay based on knowing how many people go? Shiva said, man, do you know how much people were tripping when I told them our cupcakes were $30 per dozen? And do you know how many people still bought them $30 cupcakes because they wanted them? Exactly. Now, my cousin Shiva, who is a cousin of my cousin, her and her daughters, and it's her daughter's company, they're like 12 and 9 or something like that. I don't even know how old your kids are, Shiva. They're down in Warner Robins, Georgia, and it's called Tootie Cakes. Tootie Cakes. Two little girls selling cupcakes. Right? And exactly, he sells them for $30 for a dozen. If people love your product, they will buy it. And the other part about it is when people see other people buying it, then they buy it as well. So I've seen the pictures when the girls are at the table and they're selling the cupcakes, and it's that people have that herd follow the crowd mentality. Like I said, once you start go over that tipping point, right, and get into that early majority, people just do it. They're just gonna buy it. This is why people pay $5 and $7 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks, knowing good and well that coffee is not that daggone good, but they're paying it because the early majority and the late majority says it's okay. Now that 16% ain't ever gonna go into a Starbucks, but you got past the 2 and the 13%. You get past that, you get over that 15, 18%, and people do it. as she's down in Warner Robins and more people keep buying, she will tip over the 15 to 18%, and then people will just buy it. Even though they know they can go somewhere else and get a cheaper one, the value of it's going to be cheaper. But this is where the message is. The messaging is about the kids. The kids, what these two little girls are doing. The messaging, because people love to help the youth build something. The messaging is also about the emotions of the cupcakes, the festive events, with the results that you're going to get. The way you sell, one of the ways to sell a higher priced product is to tell the people about the results that they're going to get. Right? Now, I hate to put myself in a similar category, but one of the things I hate about some of these online business gurus, sales gurus, all these people, if they figured out the methodology to get you to buy a higher priced item, right? You can tell me you don't have the money, but a lot of these other people, you'll say, you'll figure out the money to work on their program. One of my issues in marketing is that I'm more apt to just tell you the truth. Like, I'm going to tell you whether or not your business idea is going to succeed or fail. I'm also more apt to tell you whether or not you actually going to do it. Like, nothing against anybody, but if you're starting the signing agency or the storage facility, and if you've been getting your business plan together and it's 2 years later, you're not going to be successful. You're not. You procrastinate too much. You too risk averse to do it. It's never going to happen for you. The only way it's going to happen for you, you're going to get fired from your job, or somebody's got to push you real hard or something like that. And even when you do open it, you may not hustle for it because you're too scared. You're afraid that if I go out and I do something and it doesn't work, then I don't want to feel that failure. So when I see people who say, yeah, I've been working on this business, I've been wanting to do this for the last 3-4 years, unless you got some real extenuating circumstances, I don't want to hear it. Because people complain about immigrants a lot. Oh, they come here and they just start a business. No, they don't. They save for 10 years in their home country, then they get to America, they might have to save for another 10 years before they ever open. So if you say that, I've been working on my business plan for the last 2 years, then I'm going to have to ask the question, how's your credit then? How's your credit? How much saving have you put up? If you say, I ain't saved nothing yet, you ain't serious. My credit's still in the 400, you ain't serious. You're not. And I know that's one of the reasons why I don't have as many business coaching clients, because I tell people straight up, look, I'm only here for the serious people. My time is way too valuable. I love spending time with my wife. I love spending time with my kids. I love spending time doing the stuff that I like doing. I ain't got time for somebody who just playing around. There are people who they know I've coached them and I fired them. When I was a personal trainer, I used to tell my clients all the time, you might get fired. Because if you don't bring me a food journal every week, if I don't see your food journal, I'm going to fire you. If I don't see your exercise journal, I'm going to fire you. If I see you've been cheating over and over again, I'm going to fire you. If you haven't been doing the mental work that I assigned to you, I'm going to fire you. I do not work with people who don't want to accomplish what they claim that they want to accomplish. And one of the reasons why is because if you saw some of my other videos, one of my success principles is that you have to control your environment. And you have to understand, as a coach, if I'm working with you, you are part of my environment. See, like if I was working with my cousin Shiva right now, and not even with the girls with Tootie Cakes, if I was working with her online Black History teaching program, she teaches black kids, Black history online, right? She was doing this before the quarantine, right? If I was working with her and I gave her a list of assignments and she didn't complete them, she family. I'd fire her butt too. I would fire her in a heartbeat, and she know it, right? That's why I can say it. I will fire family faster than I will fire y'all, because I expect more out of my family than anybody else. But the other part of that is that you're around me, and I can't allow you to drag my environment down. I only want to work with people trying to go up in life, because that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I ain't trying. That's what I'm doing. I'm increasing my life, hitting my goals. So I need to be around people who are also hitting their goals. It's one reason why I got involved in coaching, because I like to hit goals and I want the other people to hit their goals. So if you don't know your numbers, if you're not working your numbers, if you're not out here, see, for people on YouTube, you can't see it, but she was laughing and said exactly, because she know. That's why half my family don't like me. That's why half of them don't like me. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. And a lot of these little gurus won't tell you the truth. A lot of these network marketing people will never tell you the truth. A lot of the books that you read only have about 18% of actual usable information in them. And they hide that information scattered throughout the book so that you really don't get it. I tell my people exactly what it's going to be and what it's going to take. You know, a storage facility is going to take, your credit got to be good. You got to have good credit, because you're not going to rent a storage facility more. Buy the land that it sits on. Now, bank is more willing to give you property that they can hold as collateral, but the question is going to be, have you ever ran a business before? What business have you ever ran? What's your experience? Why should we trust you with, you know, $500,000 for you to take over this storage facility that's already there and then do some remodeling? What makes you so special? Like, how are you qualified? What's your credit score? You at 620? That's not going to get it. If you want that storage facility, I need you at 740. That's why I need your credit score to be 740. And then you're going to need some skin in the game, which means that you're going to have to save some money. You need to come to the table with, if it's a $500,000 deal, you're going to need probably 20% of that $500,000, more than likely. And you may have to get a second loan. You may have to get in other investors involved. And you can't be afraid to bring in other investors and say that you're going to give them 25% of the business if they are the ones who front the money, or front the money in their credit. I did that with UC Fitness. I had a gentleman front the money and front the credit in order to get the loan to build the business, because other than restaurants, banks don't give you money for a gym. They don't. They really, really don't. Like, those are, gyms and restaurants are the two most high-risk businesses that they do not want to deal with, right? So coming from that position, I knew what I had to do, and it didn't bother me to give away 33% of the company, and that's what I did. So you have to be ready for that. You got to get a mindset for that, because what is your future plan? What is the whole plan, right? So you got to think about that. Even my cousin, Shiva, you know, like, I love the fact that she's teaching Black History online, but, and my thing is reaching out. How do you expand that? Now that people have gotten a taste of having their kids sit on Zoom, I am just like so mad at my cousin that I haven't seen her marketing like a savage for these kids who been at home, and now they're at home for the summer, and she's not marketing like a savage. Yeah, I'm calling you out, Shiva, you know how I am, to get these parents, have their kids signed up on Zoom. Get them on Zoom. Zoom don't cost much nothing. You can have these kids on there for $10. I don't know what your prices are, but, because I ain't gonna shoot it cheap either. But I mean, opportunity is here. There's so many opportunities right now. So you want to know what those plans are. You got to get your finance, your startup plans, your money, startup money right. Now, this is where a lot of people mess up too. Y'all can't see that well, I don't think. Let me just put it up there. Profit and loss over, usually banks only want a 3-year period, but I do 6 years. Profit and loss, right? How much money you gonna make and how much money is gonna cost. You need to know that so you can do your P&L, right? Oh, she said, actually, I'm making a killing teaching teachers how to teach online. See, I ain't even know that. That's what, see, bloodlines. I ain't even know that. I ain't even know that. Teaching the teachers. Teaching the teachers. That's what I'm talking about. You know, we're going to talk about that, Sheep. We got to have a conversation. But you want to know your profit and loss. Now, here's the hardest part here. People go into their profit and loss with this wild, imaginative thing. Oh, I'm going to be making, you know, $1 million a year in the first year. Actually, my wife and I was consulting with these people about a business that they wanted to start. And when they sent it to her, they just wanted the initial consultation, because after we told them the truth, the reality, she would say, I pitched to those that had their money. Exactly. So, and go where the money is at. I have no problems with that. But we were coaching these people. We was giving them an initial consult on starting this particular business. And they didn't like some of the things that I told them. One, their business was on the wrong side of the road. It was too difficult for people to get in and out. But one of the things that drove me insane is they had these unrealistic expectations of how much money they were going to make in the first year, and how how they were going to be putting out $250,000 in salary to the owners in the first year, because they had this expectation of making all this money in the first year. Most businesses do not make money in the first year. Not profit. They don't make profit. So I understand when people say they don't make money in the first year, they make money, but do they make profit? Most of them don't make profit. And profit, I'm talking about pure net profit. The money that's left over after you not paid all your bills and you not paid everything, all your overhead and you. Most people don't have that. Most people put some unrealistic number out there. And then when they go out and they try to function in that way and the numbers don't come out, then they try to fake it till they make it. That doesn't work. You got to get realistic numbers. What I did when I first started Uncle Renz Popcorn is I took my initial numbers of what I expected and what I thought, and I cut that joint in half. I did. My first time I did it, I cut it in half. And then I spent that first year, and I saw what the numbers really looked like. So when I came back to adjust my business plan, I said to myself, okay, well, I know in the first year, this store, and I don't mind telling you guys, the store made $184,000. That's what it made in the first year. So if my thought that it was going to make $280,000 in the first year, well, I just got a $100,000 a year wake up call, right? So then I budgeted, okay, I made 184. I expect a 7% increase just due to word of mouth. And if this is the marketing plan, these are the expectations of the increase from the marketing plan, maybe another 7%. And that's 14% increase, and blah 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 blah. It all comes out. And next thing you know, you're saying that you expect like a 23% increase in the next year. You put those numbers in, you look at them. Do they look right? Do they feel right? Are you actually trending in that way? Then you look at it again 3 months later. I'm not trending that way. So is it my marketing? What's going on? Why am I not trending? Something changed in the neighborhood. You start looking at all the variables. Your financial numbers they are alive, and you have to treat them like they're alive. And keep moving with them like they are alive. A lot of you are experiencing some issues. A lot of companies experiencing issues with COVID. How are they working? Do you know? I was at an RV dealership with my family yesterday. No, was that yesterday? No, Sunday. And I'm messing all up. Saturday. And I know that doesn't really matter, but it's important to me to be right, to tell you the right information. On Saturday, we're looking at RVs, and one of the things that the guy at the RV dealership told me, he said that their inventory for the last 2-3 weeks been flying out the door. Flying out the door. Why? Whereas the hotel industry is suffering, the Airbnb industry is suffering, the flight industry, the airline industry is suffering, people are buying RVs because they're like, if it's just me and my family and we go to Yosemite or wherever, it's just us. So RVs have been flying out the door. They've been driving off. And those are, you got to be able to account for things like that, and then realize that that's not going to happen next year, but you just made some new people into RV drivers. So, hey, they're going to tell their friends. So you kind of, it's a live thing. Where as long as people are suffering, this is a great time. My cousin is making some great money now because she's teaching. She's been teaching online already. She was ready for it. So if you're doing storage, you got to see how is your money going to flow? 80% fill rate is what you're looking at. Unless you buy a raggedy place or you're in a bad location, 80% fill rate. Unless everybody's leaving your city, 80% fill rate. Do not look above 80% fill rate. And that's great to get 80%. So in your first year, unless you buy a place that's already established and you can see what their track record has been for the last 3 years, looking at their taxes, looking at their fill rates, then you want to be able to say to yourself, like, okay, that's what they've been doing. I can go with these numbers. If they haven't, if you're doing a brand new place, brand new construction, then you got to break it down and say that, nope, I'm starting out with 30% fill rate for the first 6 months, and then we'll move to 50%, and then so on and so forth. And our goal is to be at 80% by the end of the year. The last 2 months, quarter of the year, I want to be at 80% fill rate, and then you go from there. But, that's how you want to think about that, and then go over the next 6 years. Then what's your expansion plan? That's going to deal with your finances. Because if you're making profit, you got to put it back into your business for your expansion plan. So you want to have your financial plans down. You want to have your 3-year goal, your 5-year goal, and then you want to have your exit strategy. Let me tell you, exit strategy is very important. Now I told you guys I drove for Lyft, and right from the first day that I signed up for Lyft, I had an exit plan. Day one. Day one. I knew exactly how much money I needed to make. I knew exactly how much money I need to put away and put in place to open up another gourmet popcorn shop. And I did. And I opened up another gourmet popcorn shop, and I kept driving for Lyft during that time frame. And based on the finances of that location, I determined how long I was going to be able to still drive for Lyft and get everything situated. What the guy just said, I am happy that you are teaching this. I guess you meant happy. My pleasure. Actually, I plan to do way more lives and way more videos about business and finances, than anything else coming soon. I plan on doing way more of these. But you want to have that exit strategy. It's great to have your 2-year, 5-year plan. I mean, if you ask me right now, where do I see Uncle Renz Popcorn in the next 3 years? Then in the next 3 years, I'll have at least 20 stores. In the next 5 years, I'll have 100 stores. Because compounding interest, I will work the stores like compounding interest. For some people, that seemed like a lot, but I spent 8 years figuring this industry out. So now that I know this industry, there's no reason why I won't explode. Simply because maximizing profit right back into the company to open new stores. Every time I open a store, I'm looking to open another one. Even though I'm getting ready to open a store in Stone Mountain, I've already found another location that I plan to open immediately after. So you got to have an exit strategy. And what's my long-term exit strategy? In 10 years, I want to be able to turn this company over to one of my children. My son is showing the most interest right now, but to turn this company over to one of my kids, and I'm just governing my child and just getting my check. Because there are other industries that I want to get involved in that I just enjoy, and there's some studying that I want to do. So, in the way I want to live my life, you got to have an exit plan. You can't, if your exit plan is just to work your company until you're ready to retire and sell it and walk away, then you got to have a way that you're saving your money and putting your money away in order for you to live the rest of your life without having to worry about money. You got to have vehicles that's bringing you money so that you keep up with inflation. Many people are like me. You're my age. You're 48, and in truth, you don't have an exit plan. You haven't put it together. You're thinking that, well, I'm working now. I'll start working on it. I bought some stock. I got a 401k. This, that, and the third. It's not going to keep up with inflation. It's not. You're going to find yourself 70 years old trying to figure out how to live your life, or living off your kids or something like that. So you don't want to be in that situation. You want to have an exit plan for your business. Whether it goes to an IPO or you go for the big sale. I ain't gonna lie. If my kids don't want to get involved with this, then I will keep it for another 10 years, so 20 years. Develop it to where it's 5,000 plus store locations around the world, and go for the big sale in 20 years. Hey, 68 years old and sell it for the billion. I'm good. So the 20-year exit strategy is to sell it all. At 68 years old, 68, 70, sell all of it. The kids don't want it, sell it. So you got to have an exit plan. But one thing that I've added, and I know people say you shouldn't think this way, but I don't care. I even say it myself. I added a just in case plan. Just in case things ain't going the way I want them to go, how am I going to regroup? That plan was added to my process back in 2014 because things didn't go the way I had planned. So because things didn't go the way I had planned, I put together a just in case, not a plan B. It's very different from a plan B. See, plan B is, well, I got this job, and if I get fired, I'm going to start this business, but if everything else fails, then I got my degree in business administration. I'm just going to go get a job. That's a plan B. Just in case this business plan don't work 80% of the way that I expect it to work, my just in case is go back and revisit the marketing, go back and revisit the location, shut down any location that's not producing, remove people out of my life that's creating toxicity, and then regroup the company and reopen somewhere else, as well as put proper things in place to prevent that situation from happening again. So if you want to know why, if you Google Uncle Renz popcorn, you will see about 4 or 5 locations. Is because after I saw some craziness went on, and then I saw some things that I learned from this industry, and then got a divorce and had to pay out some foolish money for that divorce. I had to put in place my, and I'm calling it my just in case plan for y'all. In truth, it's called my oh shit plan. It's like, oh shit. That's what it's actually called. And I had to put it in place, and I had to put it in. And I knew that that plan could be a 3 to 5 year plan to recover, right? So if you want to be nice, you can call it a recovery plan. You know, if I was teaching this as properly, I would probably call it a recovery plan, right? But that became part of my key issues. Your key issues is one of the final things in your business plan, where you talk about what are your near-term and long-term key issues. What are things you need to take care of right now to make your business into a business system and profitable? What are your long-term? Long-term things are like you're documenting your procedures so that the company can run without you. My Shiva with Tootie Cakes, I'm sure every recipe is written down. So she want to make sure all of them are written down so that as employees come in, you got all your recipes, you got all your SOPs, how to do every little detail in the company. Even stuff that you know is automatic, like how to wash your hands. If you're doing food service, how to wash your hands. Who wears a beard guard? Who wears a hairnet? All those different kinds of things. Everything to the smallest detail that you think is stupid, but you're going to have stupid working for you. So you want to make sure you get everything written down. Long-term documentation. In the immediate, it might be the growth of setting up your shop so that you can replicate it over and over again. Or when we were talking about... Shiva said, turn on the stove. Yeah, turn on the stove to 350 degrees and let sit for 5 minutes till proper temp is reached. I mean, all that little small stuff has to be part of it. You know, doing a sign, what Sanders was saying he did the, what was it? The notary signing agency. Companies have scripts. Somebody walk in the door, what's the script? They have this objection, what's the script? They ask for this, what's the script? What's the script? Do you have the script written out? Do you teach the script? Are people sticking with it? Is the script working? Have you been monitoring the script? You know, does it work? Does it not? Storage facility. Got to write down all the details. Got to have all that stuff taken care of. And then the final one is like, I have on here is investment offer. If you're going to offer investors, guys say yes they do. If you're going to offer an opportunity for investors to get involved with your company, then you want to be able to put that in there as well as to how you're going to structure those things. I got like 5 different ways that I would structure investors coming into Uncle Renz Popcorn, and each one of those structures is based on the position of the company at the time frame. Like if somebody came to me right now and said that, hey, Coach Renz, you know, I want to get involved with Uncle Renz Popcorn. I got, I don't know, $10,000. What does that get me? That makes you a bank. That means that if you gave me $10,000, I'm going to give you like 10% interest on your money, and over the next year, I'm going to pay you back your money plus 10% or whatever the number. It might be 30%, but I'm going to pay you back your money plus that interest. It ain't going to be 30%. I can tell you that right now. But it'll be something like that, or you're going to get probably wouldn't even be that. What I would probably say is, okay, you give me $10,000, then what I'm going to do is pay you back a 3% royalty on the gross returns until you are paid back $15,000. That way it's not a stressor to the company, and the company doesn't hurt itself trying to make sure we pay a certain amount back to that investor. So I wouldn't offer anybody any shares in the company right now because it's not worth it. That's why when people keep telling me, oh, you need to go on Shark Tank, you need to go on profit. Like, nah, I did, almost, but it was like, I'm not willing to give up shares right now. And I know the thing is, well, you can get, you give up some shares now so that you can grow this big, huge company. No, strategically, I rather grow it to where I'm a local hero before I even contemplate that. Meaning that I got 10, 15 stores in the city of Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, and we're a $1 million company. Now I'm willing to give it up because I can demand more money from them to truly do a national expansion. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to structure your investment opportunity based on what position you are in for the marketplace. But many people don't do that. They're so ready to just give up shares, you know. And when it's not the time yet. It's not the time. It's not the time at all. Or even bring in partners. Or even on, like I got on here, franchises. I'm not ready to franchise. I did a franchise. I did two. No, I did one. The other guy, I didn't do it with him. I did a franchise. Learned a whole bunch of stuff. Not ready for a franchise yet. Not ready. Don't have enough systems of control in place to franchise, because that's a whole nother level of control. But I hope that this has been helpful to you guys, because here's the thing. A lot of people right now, because of COVID, are going to join gig economy stuff. And I'm telling you, the reason why I did this video today is because I don't want you to do that. Please don't do that. Don't go for these little fake gurus of Amazon affiliates and drop ship this and driving for Lyft and Uber. There's no money there. There's no money. It's a trap. It's a trap to keep you from actually having your dream. She had the same talk with the girls and had them watch the Famous Amos story. Oh, Famous Amos story. Oh my gosh. That man just gave away his company. He can't even make cookies. He's in Hawaii trying to make something else now, but he can't even make cookies anymore. And he can't use his face. Can't use his face, his likeness. Can't let you know he's Famous Amos. Nothing. All right? It's sad. Right, you're not ready to give up shares. And you should not be. But do not go for the gig economy stuff. Right? Especially because it's going to trap you. You only do certain things like that if you have a quick entry and quick exit. Jump in, make some money, get out. Right? Jump in. I'm doing this for this time frame, 9 months, and I'm going to maximize it, and then I'm going to get out. I'm not going to increase my standard of living or any of those things. Like, I legit drove Lyft in order to put more money towards making my credit score better. While at the same time of making my credit score better, researching and putting everything into place, I wind up writing a DIY guide to how to fix your credit and budget your money for success. It's called Financial Alchemy. It's on my Coach Renz page. But in the process of taking my credit score from the bottom and bringing it up to where I can build a business again, I wrote a book. I utilized that time to be able to fix your credit. You ain't got to go join some network marketing company. Just go get the thing on books. Right now it's like $19.99, and it got all the 609 letters. It did 3 different rounds when to do it. It got the forgiveness letters in there. It tells you how to set up your budget for 70-10-10-10, how to manage your money so that you don't find yourself in debt, how to get your creditors in line so that they will accept whatever you can pay them and not what they telling you. Since I was doing it for myself, I published it. I wrote it down. That driving for Lyft provided the opportunity to do that, but I had a timeline. I'm getting out. It was a 1-year thing. I started in September of 2018. I was not going to be driving past September 2019. That was my whole plan. And then after that, it was open, and the whole process of that is to open up Uncle Renz Popcorn again. That's the plan. You got to have a plan, guys. That's why I shared with you guys my business plan. That business plan allowed me to walk into a bank with a 369 credit score, with an investor who had a 800 credit score and $15 million. He was liquid 15. Well, he was worth $15 million. And we had $30,000. He was willing to put $30,000 up in cash as collateral in a CD. But that business plan is what convinced the bank, with that guy in tow, to give me the money to open up a gym, which they told us while sitting. They don't normally give money to fitness companies unless they have already been proven. But that business plan and that man allowed for that to happen. All right? So I shared with you guys just the general brief of it. You got to there's a lot in the details because it took me some time to develop that business plan. I wrote it from scratch. No program to help me because my mentor was like, pen and paper, go to it. But I wrote it from scratch. But that's the mentality you have to have. You got to get out of this get rich quick thing. You got to say that, okay, I want to build my storage facilities and I'm willing to take the next 20 years to do it. I want to build my notary company, but I'm willing to build it over the next 20 years. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, building a notary company, you got to do more than notary. I hope notary is not the only thing that you're talking about doing. You know, now if you're doing a legal documentation reporting company and your goal is to get lawyers and doctors and all these kind of people to be your primary customers and they're the ones who are sending you other customers, we working on something at that point. But we got to work more than that. With DocuSigns and things like that going on, it's not as much need for notary as it used to be. I mean, it's still out there, it's still opportunity, but you just got to put yourself in a position to succeed with that and get the right clientele, you know, where people are coming to you and you can charge higher prices. But I think you need additional sources of revenue other than just the notary. And I know you just said notary agency up there, but I would have to research a heck of a lot more to kind of like really know what the heck I'm talking about when it comes to that one. All right, and that's what I do for anybody who's I'm coaching. I research I know about businesses that I have no intentions of ever doing because I coach people in their business, right? So you guys got to think that way. We got to think that way. We got to change the way we are functioning so that we can have a better life and do better. You know, so I appreciate you guys being here. I got a couple of videos I'm gonna shoot that I gotta edit. That are more editing videos. So I'll be posting those over the next couple of days. Got a couple of housing videos that I gotta shoot. Where I gotta go shoot some houses, and then edit them and put those on my Homes for Sale Atlanta. No, Read Real Estate YouTube page. So if you're looking to buy a home in Atlanta or you want to list your home in Georgia, period, give me a call. The difference is the person who can get you the most money for your house because their ability to negotiate, but the main thing is about positioning your house in such a way that it attracts people to pay the price that you're asking. That's what you want. You want people to pay the price that you ask, not pay the price that they're going to negotiate down for you. All right. So y'all have a great day. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself. Good vibrations, good journey. I just messed up all my little taglines. Free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good vibrations, good journey. See y'all later.